Welcome back to the Swider Show, everyone. Episode 42 this week, man. Obviously, super excited. Another great week in Miami, and yeah, man. We don't have Patty this week, but we have a pretty good co-host in the. He was on deck. He's been waiting for his opportunity. He's been doing a great job this whole entire time. As our producer, Adam Lewis is our on deck co-host. So welcome, Adam. Welcome.
Thank you. I was doing vocal warm-ups and practicing all morning, so I think I'm ready to rumble now. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, usually behind the scenes, but it's kind of nice to see your face like fully now. You know what I mean?
We're locked in. Oh yeah, I got a haircut today too. So I scheduled it after I found out Patty wasn't coming on. So we're ready to go. This week we're gonna do some mailbag. We went on Instagram stories and got some questions from you guys, and then I'll probably loop in a couple questions that I'm interested to hear about as well. Whenever you're ready, Cole.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, it's been another good week in Miami. Like I said, like the Miami Heat culture is real. Monday happens again, body fat and conditioning test. So it's been good, man. Another good week. Been actually have one of my Syracuse managers out here who's been helping me rebound, Dan Fitzpatrick. So shout out Dan for coming in clutch this week. And yeah, we also been having another Syracuse manager, Zach Pascal, who lives down here. He's been helping me out with my workouts. So the Syracuse connection is everywhere, and so it's been good to have that. But obviously we missed Patty. Patty couldn't make it this week, and our thoughts and prayers are with him through this time. So let's get it going, Adam.
Absolutely. Cole, for those of everyone watching on YouTube, you've got a charity shirt on, David Duke Jr. charity. Tell us about what happened this week with that.
Yeah, man. So over this past weekend, I played an All-Star game, the David Duke Jr. Charity All-Star game. We had 12 pros who were playing in the game, including Bonzi Colson, who's played for Maccabi Tel Aviv overseas. We had Xavier Munford, who's played in the NBA. He's a big-time player overseas. We had obviously David Duke, who played in the NBA this past year. Going to sign another contract in the NBA. AJ Reeves played in the G League. So we had a lot of talent on the court. And it was fun to play. I mean, David and I were on the same team, and we obviously won. But it was a good game, great event. And shout out to David. He's done a great job in the city of Providence and the state of Rhode Island, just putting together a lot of great charity events, backpack drives, basketball camps, and just honestly, just an amazing job of bringing the community together. He had a high school game before us. His little brother played in it, and it was a great event to be a part of. And just super proud of David to see how far both of us have came, but specifically him, how far he's came and how he's using his impact to show these kids that it is possible from a small state of Rhode Island to make it out and get to the NBA. And that's why it was important for me to go and play in his game. So it was a great time, Adam.
Was there a golf tournament after or something the next day? Did you play in that or no?
No, I didn't get to show my golf skills in the golf tournament. I was actually leaving the next day to go to Miami, so I just wanted to make sure I had all my stuff ready to go and everything together. But I heard it was a great time, and they played a really nice course, the Triggs Golf Course in Providence, Rhode Island. So I wish I could have made it, but yeah, no, just strictly basketball for me this weekend, Adam.
Strictly basketball for the next 2 months, I think. You're locked in now, back down in Miami. What's the best spot to eat in Miami so far? This is the mailbag question number one. Where has been your number one? Yeah, where's your number one spot so far?
So I would have a different answer before last night, but Fitz and I, along with Jay Vassallo, my stylist and one of his friends, we went to this place called Komodo, and it was like this like Japanese / like just like seafood place, and it was really good. It's pretty popular. It's pretty mainstream. But yeah, that's definitely my favorite place to eat so far.
You're gonna have to find like the one that no one knows about, so that every time you get someone in town, like you'll bring somewhere else. But that's funny. That's like a kind of a mainstream spot. But I guess you've only been there for like what, 2 weeks or whatever. So
yeah, and I haven't even been here for the full 2 weeks. I've been here Monday or Sunday through Thursday last week, and then this week I'll be here Sunday through Friday.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think Fitz and I will go try another spot tonight.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like that's one of the best things to do. Like you said, you start a podcast in your free time, but also going out to eat is a big, like not a time waster, but like when you got friends in and stuff, I feel like that's a good way to go.
Yeah, no, it's funny because my dad, when we were in Vegas, obviously you were there as well. We were going to some nice restaurants, had a couple of nice meals, and my dad was like, "Oh, like Cole, you turned into like a foodie out in Los Angeles, huh?" And honestly, I mean, that's like one of like the cool things to do, honestly, because I'm not like a big like going out guy all the time, but I love having like a nice dinner, going out
Absolutely.
to like 9:30, 10 p.m. And having a dinner and having music going in the background, everything like that. So, yeah, it was definitely nice to get a couple of nice dinners out there. And my dad just goes to me for appetizers because I'm a big appetizers guy as well.
You are. I've had, I think, two dinners in like what, 2 days, and we ordered probably like 10 appetizers. So you got to get them on.
Got to get the
Um,
appetizers going, especially when you're eating at nice places.
yeah, but you'd say the food scene in LA is just a little bit better so far. You don't know yet. You're waiting to find out.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I mean, put out a very good performance last night, so
Wow.
I'm gonna have to check out all the spots. But I think I'm just more familiar with the spots in LA.
Right.
I spent the whole year there. Obviously, you get familiar with certain places, and then I don't know. People who came with me to LA were probably like, "Oh, you have the same taste. You just go to the same places all the time." But I mean, hey, it's good stuff.
You got everyone has a taste though. Like that's at least it's not like McDonald's or
No,
KFC. You're getting the good stuff. Even like fast food, like you're hitting those like chains at night. Like you got to hit the good dinner when you're in LA and Miami and Vegas. Like, come on, that's
yeah,
ridiculous.
exactly.
Is that is that what you miss most about LA? Obviously, a good answer would probably be like your teammates or the people you played with, right? And then there's the food. What's something else that you miss about LA that like you've just probably just now realized, like the last couple of days, maybe, or a month after you left?
Yeah, I think yeah. What you say, my teammates, the people in LA. I think just the relationships that I built with people who are even just like equipment managers for the Lakers or
For sure.
my trainers with South Bay and the main Lakers staff. Just like you spend a year of just creating those relationships, and then you go into a new situation where you have to kind of like restart those relationships, right? And
Right.
it's been great. I mean, the people in the Miami Heat have been great, but I think just the overall relationships with the people that I made for the past year in the Lakers is something I missed, that I've been missing. And then I think just the like the play. I was just so comfortable going to certain places in LA. Like I would go down to Manhattan Beach and walk on the beach, or
Sure.
just go to certain places. And yeah, that's what I'd probably say. I've missed the most about LA, but Miami's not a bad place to go to after being in LA.
No, and there's like you said, there's a couple different options. I feel like Miami is like very high up there if you're gonna pick a city, like a nice spot to live, like or at least to like in the off season to train, like that's a good spot. So you said it's like meeting people and creating connections and relationships. Was that easier to do in college since you were kind of set up with everyone and every team had the exact people? Or what is it easier with like the Miami Heat or even the Los Angeles Lakers a year ago?
Yeah, no, college is definitely like a closer knit type of thing. I mean, one thing that I tell people all the time is that in the NBA, like everyone has like their own families and things that they have to do outside of basketball, right? So with the Lakers, we had like 7 or 8 guys who had full families at home. So it was different, kind of creating those bonds where in college everyone's living in the same dorms, they're eating the same food, they're going to class together, they have all these certain kind of common denominators together. Obviously, like you get closer to certain guys just based on relationships and obviously having really close friends. But I would say just overall, um, it's a lot easier to create those relationships in college just because of how much time you see the other person. The NBA, I think over time you get super close to those guys. It just takes a little bit longer because you don't have that face to face connection every single day, or even going back and having 3 roommates who are on the team. Or at Syracuse and Villanova, we all lived on the same floor, so that makes us
Right.
very close as well.
How many guys are down there right now training already for Miami?
Yeah, so I think we have 5 or 6 exhibit 10s down here, and then we have like 5 or 6 of the young guys, and then Bam and Duncan will pop through. Haywood Highsmith will pop through. So there's anywhere between 10 to 15 guys on a daily basis, which has been really cool. I've seen Jimmy down here, um, and yeah, it's been a really good experience to kind of see these guys come in and work. I mean, I'll say this about Bam Adebayo. I mean, I brought one of my Syracuse managers, Zach Pascal, into the practice facility one day, and Bam was in the locker room, getting ready to work out for probably his fourth workout of the day. He's an unbelievably hard worker, and he treated Zach like he knew him for 4 years. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
I told him, hey, it's one of my managers at Syracuse. He's like, wow, I always wanted to play at Syracuse in the 2-3 zone. He's like, tell me what the 2-3 zones, Zach. Like, just giving him like little questions like that. Like, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to make Zach feel special. Like, he's an
Sure.
all-star. He's an all-star player in the NBA, right? But it just shows the kind of character and person that he is, and what kind of people that they have in the organization, which has been one of the great things that I can tell throughout my short time here in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I've noticed really, on top of the fact that like these NBA guys and even college D1 players know the game at such a higher level than like your average high school like TNT Tuesday night watcher, or like even like a high school coach or so, like an avid fan. They don't know how to play the game at a high level. These guys are so nice. Like going out to dinner with the Syracuse people and
Yeah,
meeting, Austin and Scotty in person, and David Duke and all these guys are just so nice, especially to like Patty and I. We'll talk for like 45 minutes after an episode just about the most simple questions, just trying to learn a little bit more. But like they really are just like normal people, and they're chill and nicer than a lot of people that think they might have a better hold on things than they do.
yeah. It's funny because I think it applies to a lot of things in life, right? You always think you're so far away from like reaching those actual goals and accomplishments and all those things. Um, but I think overall, like we're a lot closer than we think we are. We're a lot closer to reaching the NBA or reaching those certain type of things. And at the end of the day, all these guys are just regular guys, right? Like not to curse on the podcast or anything like that, but one of my old high school teammates, we were playing a big game. Um, we were playing a big game against a team that was like the number one seed in the division when I was in high school. We were playing against Tilton School. They had Terrence Mann. They were the best. They're the best team in the league by far. And everyone was like kind of nervous going into the game. He's like, "Hey guys, like they eating shit just like us." Like I think we forget about that sometimes. Like they're
Absolutely.
just normal people just like us. Even though they might have money, they may have fame, they may have all these different things. Like they still struggle. They still go through all these things. Fitz was here and he was just talking about, hey, like these guys probably make a lot of money, but it can be a very lonely lifestyle. Like
I'm
out
sure.
here just living by yourself and training and doing all these things. Like you have that time in the facility when you're around people, and then you go home and then it's like, all right, what do I do now? I have 10 free
Yeah.
hours of my day. Do I go back
Yeah.
to the gym again? Do I rest my body? Do I uh hang out with my boy and go to dinner? Right. So
Sure.
I think that's one thing that you realize when you really talk to these guys, that they're just like us.
That's crazy. And I felt like I think it's about exactly a year now that we've been kind of like from creating the show, like getting it ready, and then just we haven't really missed many weeks at all since. Every week I'm surprised by how nice the guy that like Wenyan popped on the Zoom like 5 minutes before you did, and he was just randomly talking to me about like about you and like about the situation there and how exciting it was with when LeBron just set the record and everything. So I feel like yeah, it's apparent every single week to me, and shocking how like chill everyone is. If it's all right with you, we'll hit a couple more of these mailbag
Let's do it.
questions.
Let's do it.
We can do a little rapid fire, just get a couple of them off because they're a little bit quicker questions. I'll get through a couple here. Would you rather lose by 50 points or would you rather lose by a buzzer beater?
Oh, lose by a buzzer beat. I want to be in the game. I want to be competing. Losing by 50, I don't care. I don't care who you're playing against. That's worse than losing on a buzzer beater.
That's no fun for sure. Have you ever lost on like a buzzer beater? Like obviously you probably have, but like at a high level since you've been maybe Villanova or Syracuse. I guess well no, yeah, I'm trying to think of when you were at Cuse. Yeah. How about college or NBA? Have you lost on like a big shot?
I'm trying to think. Scotty hit a buzzer beater this past year, so I won. I won on a buzzer beater. I'm trying to think if we've lost. Um, I don't really count the Elam endings because in the G League we were playing the Elam endings, so like technically that would be a buzzer beater. But I don't think I've lost on a buzzer beater in college or professional. Um, I remember when I was in high school, we lost on a heartbreaking buzzer beater. Um, but yeah, no, I can't remember the last time I lost
Yeah.
on a buzzer beater.
I guess that's good. You'd rather. I mean, it sucks as a former CYO basketball starting point guard for maybe 1 year. I experienced just as many as you, but um, so with buzzer beaters, the thing that comes to mind for me is that G League playoff game that you guys had, and you were right up next to the rim. And an unbiased perspective, Patty and I thought you maybe got bumped in the chest a little bit or a lot off the rim. and could have had a finish there. But that was super close to the point where I thought it was going in anyway. Like you almost made it, even though you got fouled. So that was
Yeah.
a frustrating. And that's the last time you played in the G League game, right? Like that was obviously the end of the season. So that one was rough, but
Well,
that would have been a good one for the resume.
yeah. Obviously, you can't count on that free throw with zero point 0.4 seconds left, but that was kind of like a.
That was
It's
a good
also
one.
like, yeah, when you have a shot that basically ends the game with zero point 0.1 or zero point 0.2 seconds on the clock. Like before, that would have been a buzzer beater because the refs wouldn't have like stopped the clock at exactly 0.1, 0.2. I feel like
Right.
now there's always a time where they're stopping the clock and they're gonna add zero point 0.1, 0.2 seconds left, and then it's like it's not as fun.
The most frustrating thing is especially when they're like moving it up to the tenth of a second, and then
Yeah,
they don't start the clock exactly when it touches his hands anyway, or when it bounces out of bounds, or like the buzzer doesn't go off at the same time as the TV. So like there's no point in making it exact anyway. And they're taking 5 minutes to review it over a timeout, and Van Gundy's getting mad about it. So I feel like that's been a thing recently in recent years that has been very
yeah,
annoying,
definitely.
especially in the playoffs. All right, here's another one. Best at golf. I'm going to give you three Syracuse guys, or at least former Syracuse guys. Joe Girard, Buddy Boeheim, Brian Bury. Best golfer.
Wow, I'm gonna go with Joe Girard. I,
Yeah.
I would have put Buddy maybe in that conversation, but the last time I played with Buddy, it was just we were equal. So I'm gonna have to go with Joe Girard on that one. I haven't seen Bury play in a while. Bury's one of our grad assistants at Cuse, the former head manager at Cuse as well. I haven't seen Bury play in a while, but I have a funny story about Bury. So Bury, I and Fitz used to play golf like maybe like 2 or 3 times a week when I was at Cuse, especially in the summer. So it was getting to a point where like Bury was beating me pretty regularly. You know what I mean? He was
Handily.
getting
Yeah.
better, not handily, but he was beating me by like 3 4 strokes every single time.
Sure.
So like I was like, hey Bury, like I just want to tell you like from man to man, like you are better than me now. You know what I mean? Like
Wow.
I'll concede
Okay.
that you are better than me. So of course, you know what I mean. He relaxed a little bit. I think like the next like 6 times we played,
I love
and
it.
then the argument was back on. So
It's all
shout out
mind
to Bury.
games.
Shout out to Bury. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Buddy. You're great golf partners, especially.
Yeah.
And we forgot to throw Jimmy Boeheim in there. He's a great golf partner as well.
Yeah. And Joe had an internship, I think, at Drumlin's at least one summer because
Yeah,
I
that's
had
not
friends that
fair.
right. It doesn't level the playing field, or it unlevels the playing field. As a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know this, this is a fuel. If you want to become a student at Cuse, you can walk 9 for free at Drumlin's every day of your entire every day that they're open for free. But if you're a cart guy or if you don't have the class schedule to do it, that immediately lets other people get better. So you can't go to Cuse and not be good at golf, even if we're in the Northeast. You have a
It's
good
very
chance.
true.
And Joe's there every day in the summer. So I don't know if it's a very fair question, but that's what we got. All right, let's go to that heat culture thing. We mentioned at the very top. How does the conditioning, specifically the conditioning, compare to like Syracuse and for the Los Angeles Lakers? Maybe don't just like the level of it, but like maybe the different drills, or give us a little insight into what you're doing recently.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is that there's not a lot of teams who practice um, defense in the NBA during the summer, and there's not a lot of teams who have like conditioning tests in the summer. I think it's pretty normal for teams to have conditioning tests when training camp starts and when preseason starts to kind of test their guys. But I would say from talking to just different guys around the league, and obviously my 1 year with LA, there's not a lot of conditioning tests. So Syracuse, like we had a great strength and conditioning program with Ryan Kabilis.
The
Villanova, we had a
man.
great strength and conditioning program. Um, but there wasn't a lot of like conditioning tests. It was more just like we're gonna play live, we're gonna practice hard, and that's gonna be like your conditioning. This is the first kind of program I've been a part of where it's like on Mondays we're gonna do a conditioning test and we're gonna test you. So it's obviously been a great experience to kind of be a part of that. And then every single week it's like you're going to do your conditioning test, then you're going to work out for an hour and 15 minutes. So, do you want to burn yourself out on the conditioning test, or you want to perform well? Because all those things matter, right? So, I think
Sure.
it's been good to kind of balance those things and go from there.
How have you balanced it? As looking for a guy that's going to either be converted to a two-way or converted to a roster in your best scenario in Miami,
Yeah.
what's your balance? What have you found the last 2 weeks?
Well, I think I pride myself on being like a pretty. You have to be in really good condition to be an NBA shooter. So, the conditioning test right now, it's they're going to keep on leveling it up. Right now, it's kind of at the beginning stages, so I haven't had to um, really do anything different to pass this conditioning test. I think I've just gotten in better shape over time. They do it after a weekend, so if you're fooling around during the weekend, it might be tough for you. But I've been pretty locked in, and the first 2 weeks haven't been as tough. But I would I would say all the time, it's like you could be doing everything right, and if you're still not playing well on the court, then it's probably not going to matter. You know what I mean? It's not going to matter as much. I think why you do those conditioning tests and why you do all these things is to help give yourself the best chance to play well. Um, but the most important thing is playing well on the court when the coaches are watching and the general managers are watching. So I think the balance for me is to not to put too much pressure or not to put too much stock in anything, but just put yourself in the best position to play well.
Who's running those practices? Like when you're in a playing position the last couple weeks, like who runs that practice and who's maybe watching? And are they watching live or do they watch film afterwards?
Yeah, no. So Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, all those guys have been up and watching us. Especially when we go live. We play live Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday will be more of like a 3-on-3 day. Thursday will be more of like a 5-on-5 day. And all those guys are watching, especially when we play live. And then on the days that we're not playing live, our workouts are ran by the video coordinator of the staff right now, Dan Biscaccio. He's done a great job with us, especially like the Exhibit 10 guys coming in and working out. And then the assistant coaches will be there too, helping out. So
Cool.
it's been a great experience so far to be with these guys, and they've done a great job kind of just explaining to us the Heat culture before we kind of get into training camp and the preseason when we really see it with everyone there.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about so there's a question here and I'll adjust it to our conversation we've had so far. Um, we had a mailbag question ask about different coaching methods, like specifically different things, like maybe drills or like conversations you'd have with um, Coach Boeheim and Coach Wright separate.
Yeah.
So maybe how you can connect it to the NBA, like see how the practices are different. Obviously, it's gonna be very different, but like, and then compare them to each other and what's the difference there specifically.
Yeah, when I was at Villanova, we basically did full practices in the summer. So, um, 3 days a week, we would have like an hour and 20 to hour and 40 minute practice, like full boat, like going hard. A lot of like competitive drills, a lot of technique, a lot of offensive stuff. And then when we get into the fall with Villanova, it would be a lot of defense and defensive drills and focusing on our defense. So when I was at Syracuse, we did a lot of individual skill development. So that was different, right? Like I spent a lot of time with GMAC and I spent a lot of time with Cambillis and it was more individualized to focus on your game. Then we played live 2 or 3 times a week and kind of like mix in that. And then we'd have one practice, 1 hour practice with Coach Boeheim and kind of go over like the just the different techniques and philosophies that he had on both sides of the ball. So and then with the NBA, last year with the Lakers, it was mostly individual skill development. Then you play live like 2 or 3 times a week. Um, so it was pretty similar to Cuse in that aspect, where you're getting like a lot of individual work, you're getting a lot of shots, you're getting a lot of individual time with the coaches. And then with the Heat, it's been mostly just group workouts. So um, group workouts, learning the skills or learning the philosophies of their defense, their language, their and everything like that. And then um, playing live when you can, right? And trying to do the best possible job you can of remembering the concepts and the philosophies and shooting the ball well and et cetera, right? So the 3 different methods, 3 different styles, but I would say they all have they're all effective in their own ways, right? And I've been blessed to be a part of or four great programs and traditions, and obviously
Yeah.
it doesn't really get much better than the 4 situations I've been in.
And they're all, and like you said, they're all so different. One's a 2-3 zone, and one's like the Heat culture, and then you're in Los Angeles with LeBron, and then obviously Villanova for 3 years after they won a national championship
Yeah.
is crazy. So that's just. Do you think that like basically you selected Los Angeles and then you selected Miami, right? And you selected Syracuse after the transfer situation, but originally you committed to Villanova. So do you think that you are picking these bigger programs because of that? because of their like tradition, or do you think it's because they fit you as a player better? Or at the time when you made the decision, is it more of you as a player versus the name Syracuse, the name Villanova?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything, right? I think first and foremost, I try and go with the best fit because if you don't pick a great fit, then you're not gonna be able to show what you can do from a talent perspective. Um, and then you try and look for roster needs, right? For Los Angeles, there was a big hole in the shooting department. Um, and then with the Miami Heat, they just lost Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, so there's going to be room for guys like me to possibly make the team. And we'll see what happens with this
We'll
Dame
see what
trade. That
happens.
yeah, and there could be more. There could be more of a need. So I think overall, just looking to find the best possible fit, and those best possible fits have been great organizations and great college programs.
Yeah, I mean, I was just we just said it, but that's a crazy. Like, if you look at your Wikipedia page, it's just those four programs in a row.
Yeah,
That's pretty nuts. And then you said,
yeah,
like in the we talked about it last week, but in the search for a new training camp deal, in the search for a new fit, you had the Milwaukee Bucks there too. Like that's and the Boston Celtics. Like that's crazy. Just crazy big programs. And no offense, but like you're not like all these programs that are big. You're not even how do I want to say this? There's smaller programs in the NBA, right? So you could be, for lack of a better term, stuck there, and no matter how much time you get, like it's going to be tough to make an impact depending on how they play, depending on who they play, right? Because they may be rebuilding, but you're having like a possibility of making an impact in these big programs, and you've had it at four different places now. So and that's super lucky, and I know you feel that way also.
no, definitely. And I think one thing that Coach Boeheim told me in high school when I was getting recruited, like you got to find a place that has a stage. Like this doesn't really matter anymore. But when when I was getting recruited, one of my top schools was Xavier, and at the time they had a player named JP McCura, and JP McCura was a really good college basketball player, and probably a lot of people that I'm saying this to right now, like they don't really know who JP McCura is. And he was
Sure,
like, JP McCura could walk down the street and no one knows who he is. Like people know who Syracuse basketball players are. And he's like, Villanova, that's
absolutely.
a big stage. Duke, that's a big stage. Syracuse is a huge stage. Like you play on the biggest stage in college basketball. And it comes with its pluses and minuses, right? Because on the plus side of it is like every single game is going to be micromanaged by every single person in the media, right? Like the Syracuse media is going to get on you
Oh,
after a bad game. The Villanova media is going to get on you after a bad game. Lakers, you know how that is, right? Uh, I
oh
bet
my
my
God.
I bet Miami's the same way, but um, so that's like the minus part of it. But the plus side of it is the Austin Reeves effect. It's the Alex Caruso effect. It's the O'Shea Brissett after his freshman year getting a lot of love and almost going to the NBA draft because he averaged 12 points a game at Syracuse as a freshman.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So there's the pluses and minuses of everything. And I've just been extremely lucky and grateful to be a part of those teams and programs where a lot of people care.
Sure. You talk about the media and how it affects like the players and like even you're playing like I'm not gonna speak for you, but I can imagine there's a little bit of you that's affected by like the negativity every once in a while. Maybe not as much anymore. I remember like you started at Syracuse and like you did have a rough what 3 or 4 first games that shooting spell which was tough. And I remember
Yeah.
thinking like, geez, these guys will not lay off him. Like it's just straight like what are they? What is this transfer? Like now we can only wait till they get 6 guys next year. Like this was November against
Yeah.
whoever, against Colgate. It was after that game or whatever. And then you get to the Lakers and Lakers Twitter. Sometimes it's great and sometimes it's crazy. Like we look at halftime of a summer league game and you'd have 15 points and it's like Cole Swider can't move his feet. It's like what do we like? First of all, yes he can, and second of all, like that's not what you should be focused on. So you've had those two, obviously, like 2 years in a row. It's been obviously like tough media, and then maybe you get some love every once in a while. How has Miami's media so far? What you've seen? Maybe not even the media, but fans on Twitter or fans on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know me in Miami. So I I noticed this in the G League too. It's like you have a great game in the G League and there's not that many people talking about you. You know what I mean? So it's good because if you have a bad game in the G League, no one's talking about you. But it's bad because it's like no matter how well you play, you're not getting that love and the shine. So you definitely want to be on those big stages. Like they always say, like scoring 20 points in Charlotte isn't like scoring 20 points in LA. or scoring 20 points in Boston or scoring 20 points in Miami. Like those guys are going to get recognized more. Like a Matt Strus, a Duncan Robinson,
Sure.
deep playoff runs, they get paid 90 million. Guys, if they did the same thing in Charlotte and they didn't win, they probably won't get paid that same amount of money. So you definitely want to be in those big markets and those teams who are making it a deep playoff run because A, you'll probably get paid more. B, you want to be a part of those great franchises, and everyone wants to be in Miami, LA, Boston, Dallas, even like a team like Milwaukee now.
Sure. And like we said, that's bringing everything in. Like you've played for the big cities, you've had interest from other big cities, and now you have a chance where, Gabe Vincent's shooting whatever 50% from three in the semifinals, and then does the same thing in the finals. He's getting a huge contract. So it's happened. Like you named it on. We had a reel go out today on Instagram. Like there's been like 6 guys that it's happened to. So why can't you be the 7th? You know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of things people don't realize. Like the opportunity, you don't have to create the opportunity a lot. Like it's there in certain situations. So we'll have to see how you fit in there. But I have
Definitely.
confidence. You mentioned Austin Reeves, and I actually had forgotten about even talking about this until now. Have you been watching the USA at all? The Reeves effect?
Yeah, Austin's been great. I mean, he's such a natural born killer. Like that's the person that comes to my mind when watching him play. It's like I love Austin, but there's no way he works on those moves like on his own in the gym. Like that's just natural God given ability. It's almost
Absolutely.
like I know I'm a big Scottie Pippen Jr. fan, but it's almost like him a little bit. Like those guys just have such a knack to like find their way around defenses, and it's just so natural for them to do that. Like they don't work on those moves. Like Austin could be working on those moves, and I might be selling him a little bit short, but I think it's just natural God given ability to be able to just to make those reactions and just make those plays just so naturally for them.
And he's got that confidence now too, like in the
Oh,
Western, like in the playoffs, right? And then now he's doing the same thing. He's been doing it since September. We said it on the episode where like you might do it again this year, and then he did it all season long, like constantly, 7 months straight in the playoffs. Now he's playing for Team USA, so I think confidence has got to be
$56
a huge thing,
million contract. Yeah,
right? And
he earned
and
it.
and and he could have got. I mean, who knows, right? But like that might not be the last contract he signs, and it probably won't be. You know what I mean? Like that level high ability and confidence, it can go anywhere. So we'll have to see on that.
Definitely.
Um, that's all the mailbag questions we got. Okay. You think of anything else to go over here?
I mean, I think that's good. I'm super excited to kind of continue this journey with Miami. It's been a great couple of weeks so far, and yeah, man, you got anything else to ask me? You got any other looming questions that you've been trying to get off your chest?
I guess we'll just go with the we'll go with a simple one. Do you think you could beat me in golf? First of all, I know you never see me. I just want like your
Yeah,
instinct.
yeah. You look like a good golfer. Like you have that look of a good golfer, but the way I've been playing lately, I mean, it just depends. Like, what do you usually shoot?
Oh, I can't even. I'm not going to reveal that on the podcast. No, I'd say I could shoot like you told me you shot like a 90 the other week, and like I was like that's probably about the range if I had a good round. Like I'm not great, right? But
You're
I'm
shooting
getting
under
there.
100 though. You're shooting under
Oh,
100.
sure, for sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, you
So
like
I think it would be a
you
good
strike
challenge.
me. Yeah, you strike me as a guy who can golf.
I'm gonna get there too, especially with like Patty's been talking a lot. I think we're gonna have to play like Captain and Mate
Yeah,
or
no, I gotta play
something.
Patty. Patty's acting like he beat me. Like we're 1-1 right now, Patty and I.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
yeah,
Pat.
he's
He's
playing that up. I'm gonna have to talk to him when I see him. We're
he's
gonna have
he's yeah,
to.
he's acting like he's wiped me a couple times. I mean, we're 1-1 against each other.
Okay. And you said, and you've played with these big like scratch golfers like GMAX. See, I haven't had that opportunity yet. Like my dad's really good. Like he got out once this year and shot a 75 or something, but like I'm not learning from him at that
Wow,
level yet. I need to
75.
I need to learn. I need to play a lot more before he can like fix like one little thing in my swing and how I hit the ball. So we'll have to see next summer maybe. Or I'll be
Yeah,
out in LA, so maybe I'll play some there a little bit. Is that expensive? The LA golf scene?
I mean, you can find cheap golf wherever.
Okay.
I'll send you a couple courses where you can go to where it's not too bad. Max and I were hitting some courses when I was out there, so I'll definitely send a couple along your
Cool.
way.
Perfect. Yeah, so we avoided LA for show production, like the time zone switch for about 2 or 3 weeks here, and I'm going out on Saturday. So We're going to be back to shooting in 2 different time zones, but that's all right. We'll
Sir.
we'll be all right. Yeah, so I think that wraps it up mostly.
Yes, sir. Great episode number 42, right, Adam? 42.
42. We're getting there.
Jackie Robinson episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great week of talking shop with my boy Adam. Obviously, weren't able to have Patty, but we'll have Patty here with a little ending. So, thanks for as always. So, thanks for listening. Another week of the Swider Show, and tune in next week.